Hello and welcome to Dr. Shiny Tarot. This is a daily reading for Monday, the 21st of December, and the purpose of this reading is to give you just a little brief piece of advice or to help guide your overall focus for the day. Now, if you are looking for a longer, more detailed reading, please check out my channel and look at the monthly readings. They are far more detailed. So if you are new to Pick a Card readings, the way this works is that you'll choose one of the piles here, and then you'll scroll down to the description and click on the timestamp for the pile you've chosen, and it'll skip ahead in the reading to your selection. So if you do feel like you want to choose more than one of these, that's okay. Follow your intuition. There's probably some good advice in each of these decks, but one of them might be a little bit more specific than the others to your situation. So I've also added 3 crystals to help you decide what deck you'd like to pick. And today, the crystals that I have are this Citrine, and then I have a Smokey Quartz, rough Smokey Quartz here, and a orange Calcite. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to meditate on your selection and decide, and we'll get started right after that. Okay, so if you have not already done so, please make your selection and scroll down to the description and find the timestamp for your selection. So we're going to get started with the Citrine. If you chose Citrine, you have the Tower in the reverse, the 7 of Swords, and the 5 of Cups. Okay, so the Tower in the reverse is a resistance to a life-shattering kind of change or something that needs to happen. This is, the Tower represents faith in institutions, right? So, banks, schools, governments, even marriage. These are institutions. They're these organizations that we've invented to make life a little bit more secure, a little bit more easy. But what happens is if we dig ourselves too deep into these organizations, eventually they come crashing down because they have a time limit on, or a life expectancy, right? They have an expiration. And when they do come crashing down, you don't want to be inside them, or you're kind of forced to just jump from the window or come crashing down with the tower. So you're resisting this. There is something that is kind of not working out, some sort of an institution that's not doing well for you, and you're kind of sticking it out and resisting that process of moving on and letting the tower come down on its own time. So that could be a dangerous place to be. Just ask yourself, what are you clinging to that is no longer serving you? Because if you cling to these things too long, a lot of times they end up dragging you down with them. So your challenge here is this 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords has an energy of feeling like you need to get away with something, or that you need to sneak around, or that you can't reveal your true intentions. A very somewhat guilty, but a lot of times it's not that you're doing something wrong or stealing or something like that. It's just feeling like you need to be covert about your intentions. So there may be a feeling that whatever this sort of tower situation is, that if you are to get out of it, you have to do it kind of close to the chest or undercover, and not really make your intentions known ahead of time, and just sort of, get out of it quickly. But your advice card here, you have the 5 of Cups. So 5 of Cups indicates that you've made some mistakes in the past, but you're kind of ready to move on from those mistakes. You're ready to learn from those mistakes. And in the advice card, definitely This is to say, don't focus on your mistakes or don't punish yourself for it over and over again. Don't feel like you deserve to be in a hurtful situation because of something that you've done in the past or something like that. You do deserve better. You deserve to move on to something that is a brighter future for you. And this is an indication to go for that and to sort of leave the past in the past. Learn from your mistakes. Definitely learn from them. Don't just sort of suppress or feel like you didn't make a mistake. Admit, own up to it, own it, and then move on from it and learn from it. And that is what you're being guided to do here. So that's about it. Kind of a short and sweet message there for card number 1. Seems like there's a little bit of intensity here. So whatever situation you're in, I hope it definitely works out well for you. So that's it for card number 1. Now let's go ahead and move on to card number 2. If you chose the Smokey Quartz, this is the reading for you. Okay, you have Judgment, the Two of Pentacles, and the Lovers. Okay, so the Judgment card suggests that you have to make some sort of a decision. And the way that you have to make this decision, unlike the Justice card, which is very methodical or logical, Judgment also brings into the picture your past experiences and your intuition. So whereas, you may think logically, like let's talk about like a business decision, you can say, okay, well, it has such and such % chance of working out. That would be more justice, right? But in this situation, it's like, okay, yeah, supposedly that's the percentage, but I've been burned in this kind of a situation too many times to know better than to make this decision, right? So Judgment is it has that extra experience and that intuition, which will kind of, teach you when you need to move on from something, even when your logical mind or your higher cognitive faculties are pushing you down some particular road. So, again, in your situation, this just means there's some decision that needs to be made, and it's not going to be enough to follow your head. You're going to have to also follow your heart here and use your judgment. And also just kind of have some faith in yourself and your ability to make a right choice. If something doesn't feel right, don't go for it, right? What's crossing you or challenging you here is this Two of Pentacles. And this is very much about, I always think work-life balance when I see the Two of Pentacles. This is juggling the finances, but also having time to take care of yourself or to create a family, all that kind of stuff. And there's not really a sense with this card that it's like over encumbering you or that you're not able to keep it all under control or balance things. But there is a sense that you're being, pressed by this. You're having to balance a lot of things. You might feel a little stretched too thin or that you don't have enough time to make all these decisions. And so that actually contributes more to the Judgment category here. If you don't have time to really think out the decision, go with your gut a little bit. Use your judgment, and it's kind of a shortcut, but it helps because realistically you could never collect enough data to make a perfect decision anyway. There are no perfect decisions. So instead of that, short circuit a little bit, use your intuition, and it'll help kind of free up some mental energy so that you have a little bit more time to do these other things. And your advice card here is the Lovers. And the Lovers is all about choice. This is about saying, when the going gets tough, the only thing that keeps you there, or the only thing that keeps you applied to whatever situation you're in, is the choice to do so. So, in other words, if you have this attitude that everything that you do in life should just kind of be really easy and you should be drawn to it and it should be effortless, that's a really good way to get nowhere, because everything in life comes with struggles. It comes with unforeseen consequences or drawbacks, And the only way to really maintain or stick with anything is to make a conscious decision or choice to do so. So this is asking you to really ask yourself, are in a situation that you may be in where you're forced with a choice that requires your judgment here, is it really going to be different, if you decide to go some other direction? Or is it something that you need to stick it out because everything has the negatives, the ups and downs, and it's really just a matter of when are you going to make a choice to stick with something? And, nobody can tell you why you should stick with something. Again, that goes back to your judgment. From past experience or from not having past experience, either way, kind of what to expect when you move on to some other choice instead of sticking with something. So it's going to be up to your judgment to figure out, is this going to work best for you to make this choice or not? And with the lovers coming up in your advice category, it suggests that rather than being complacent and doing nothing, there should be some sort of a decision made here. And so, in other words, if you're going, like, for example, if you're just in general thinking about should I stay or should I go, that type of a decision, then instead of just not deciding and sort of just dithering and saying, well, I might go, well, you should make a solid choice that either I'm going to stick through it, I'm going to devote myself to it, or I am going to leave and escape from the situation, right? So it's a card which it's not a very middle ground type of thing. It's either you go one way, you fully own one direction, or you fully own the other direction, but you don't just sit back and say, well, I don't want to make a choice right now. And that's your advice for this day. Okay, so that's it for card number 2. All right. So moving on to card number 3 for the orange calcite. If you chose this card, your reading is the 3 of Cups, 9 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Swords. Okay. So what's going on here is, 3 of Cups is a very friendly energy. This is, fellowship. You're able to, hang out with the people that you want to be around. You're feeling pretty good about that. There's not a whole lot of loneliness there. Or, if there is, you're sort of seeking this. And either way, it can go either way, but it's on your mind now, fellowship and friendship, right? So one way or another, you either have it right now or you're like looking for it. You're seeking it. And if you are diligent in that and you are a good friend, this tends to work out pretty good. It's a good energy to sustain. Now, with this 9 of Pentacles crossing you, this is a little bit more of like a daydreamy type of a situation. So, the 9 of Pentacles has some financial success. She's done really well for herself, but she has kind of like reached this point where she's backing off the accelerator a little bit and, in a sort of a daydreamy spot. And she's interested in dreams and visions and thoughts and things like that a little bit more, to where she might like kind of lose focus on the end goal a little bit. So this could be a challenge for you a little bit here. It's not a huge thing. This is a very subtle energy as the cards go. But yeah, I always think kind of daydreams when I think about this 9 of Pentacles. It's a little bit of kind of a complacency that happens. And again, it's not as though that complacency is leading you to be completely stagnant or anything, because there is some abundance and success to begin with here. But what's going on is that you're not really moving forward or growing past where you've been. You're just kind of staying on the same trajectory. And it's like once you have that really good financial success, a lot of times it's like, well, what do I do now? Especially if you've been searching after it for so long. So if you already have the success, it's tough to imagine what you ought to do next. But, there's always more to explore in this universe, in this life that you live. And so it's time to kind of look for what's next, what's going to come next. And the advice card here is this Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords typically, and this deck doesn't look quite so grim, but typically the Ten of Swords, it looks like a monumental disaster or failure or something like that. That's just all is lost. The sky is falling. And the message of the card is that even when it feels like that, even when it's at its very darkest, you have to still kind of move on. You have to still look for the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, or find a way to move forward from that situation and go toward the light a little bit. So this is your advice card. So this is saying, and it looks like your history may be pretty bright. The past, what's been going on, is not necessarily grim or dark, but this is a reminder that you have to still keep moving. You still have to move on. You still have to grow. And that may mean going through some difficulties for you, but it's okay because you come out the other side having grown, having learned, and having gotten, all that much further than you were before. So, what I'm getting here is just remember to keep moving. Remember to keep on going. It kind of looks like this lady's in the desert here, and she's just, trying to find some sort of civilization. She's a little bit listless and kind of drifting, but she's still moving. She's still following some particular direction. So that's your advice for this particular reading. And that's about all I have for you today for your pick a card reading. If you enjoyed, please like or subscribe. And I will see you guys tomorrow for your next daily reading. See you later.